The honourable member from St. Albert, Edmonton.
Mr. Speaker, after 8 years, this NDP Liberal government isn't worth the cost or the corruption. The RCMP criminal investigation into the Prime Minister's wrongdoing during the SNC-Lavalin scandal was thwarted after the Prime Minister hid behind Cabinet confidence and refused to turn over documents. On Monday, he doubled down on his cover-up, ordering NDP and Liberal MPs to block the Commissioner of the RCMP from testifying about his obstruction. A simple question: what does the Prime Minister have to hide?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, I find it ironic that the Conservatives would actually use an issue that was settled years ago and reconfirmed that the RCMP the Commissioner has stated, quote, that he was very comfortable with the decision being made. But, Mr. Speaker, while speaking about committee, I find it ironic that the Conservatives are trying to use a closed case to block the investigation of 5 Conservative members on a lavish trip to London paid for by individuals who want to ensure that pollution is free again.
Colleagues, I please encourage you to listen to your wits. The honourable member from St. Albert, Edmonton.
Mr. Speaker, with this Prime Minister, it's corruption and cover-up all the time. This is a Prime Minister who obstructed justice to protect SNC, who fired his Attorney General after she spoke truth to power, who obstructed a criminal investigation into his potential criminal wrongdoing, and who has now silenced the RCMP Commissioner from testifying at committee about his obstruction. Again, if the Prime Minister has nothing to hide, then why won't he let the Commissioner speak at committee and testify?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, the fact remains Conservatives had 26 opportunities to bring in the RCMP and bring forward a motion. But what I find interesting is, why are the Conservatives hiding the investigation or the study that members would like to have in regards to their lavish travel to London by lobbyists who would like to make pollution free again? $1,800 worth of champagne, a Savoy restaurant, $1,000 for a 3-course lunch, Mr. Speaker, $1,200 at an oyster bar, Mr. Speaker. Perhaps the Conservatives should realize the hypocrisy in terms of their cover-up.
Colleagues, you can see how this works. When one side starts getting excited, then the other side starts getting excited, and it just gets a little worse. We need to exercise a lot of self-restraint in listening to the questions as well as listening to the answers.
The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable. Mr. Speaker, the RCMP Commissioner appeared on Monday, ready at the request of the Ethics Committee to talk about the investigation into the SNC-Lavalin affair. The Commissioner was muzzled. Why? Because the Liberal NDP coalition and even the Bloc Québécois all voted to end the meeting. And you know what? Before testimony and before questions, it's costly to vote for the Bloc. It's preventing us from shedding light on another Liberal scandal. After 8 years, why is the Prime Minister still so afraid of the truth? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
The Champagne Conservatives should take a long, hard look in the mirror when they are using a situation that the Commissioner himself has said is closed in a way to obstruct committee from looking into the spending of a lavish trip for 5 Conservative members paid for by lobbyists who want to make pollution free again. Mr. Speaker, into the porterhouse steaks that were consumed, the Chateaubriand, the Scottish smoked salmon, $1,800 worth of champagne. Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives have a lot to hide, it seems.
Order. Order. L'honorable député de Mégantic-l'Érable.
Monsieur le Président, il y a tellement de scandales.
Mr. Speaker, there's so many scandals going on with this government that the Prime Minister can't even keep up. Yesterday, in response to an important question on the SNC-Lavalin scandal, he responded with info on the ArriveCan scandal worth $54 million. After 8 years of scandal, ethical breaches, and division by this Liberal government, why should Canadians continue to trust a government which paid a two-person firm, GC Strategies, $11 million to develop the ArriveCan application when this company didn't even have the computer skills to do it? Will the Prime Minister admit he's not worth the cost?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, it seems the Conservatives are trying to pivot once again from the fact that these champagne Conservatives are trying to obstruct committee from looking into lobbyists paying for a lavish trip to London, England for 5 Conservative members while they dined on an $1,200 oyster bar, $1,000 for a 3-course lunch, Mr. Speaker. The Conservatives seem to want to distract and hide from the scandals coming from their champagne taste.
You'll get invited next time.
The Honourable Member from York Simcoe.
Mr. Speaker, it's gotten so bad. When this Prime Minister stands up in question period to answer a question, he doesn't know whether to answer the question or say not guilty. Just this week, the Prime Minister directed his Liberal MPs and his NDP lackeys to shut down the Ethics Committee, right when the RCMP Commissioner was set to testify in the SNC-Lavalin affair. After 8 years, this NDP Liberal government is now covering up their cover-ups to protect a Prime Minister who's been charged with ethic violations on 5 different occasions. He's just not worth the cost. Canadians want common sense from their government, but all they're getting from the Liberals is concealment, mismanagement, and non-accountability. Canadians deserve the truth. Why did this Prime Minister order a shutdown of a parliamentary committee to cover up the potential criminality in the SNC-Lavalin affair?